Ang halos kalahati ang populasyon ng wildlife sa buong mundo sa nakalipas na 40 taon. Base po yan sa pag-aaral ng World.
Dalawang pet shop sa isang mall sa Pasay City ang sinalakay ng mga operatiba ng DENR at mga opisyal ng Pasay dahil sa pagbebenta ng mga hayop na itunuturing na endangered species.
Environment Secretary Ramon Pajes says the 5 tons of ivory will be crushed by a steam roller before they are burned at the Ninoy Aquino Parks and Wildlife Center in Quezon City on June 21st.
Arestado sa entrapment operation ang isang lalaking iligal na nagbebenta ng agila sa General Trias sa Cavite. Nagpanggap pa ang suspect na empleyado ng DENR. Exclusive, Ibandila mo, Bettina Magsaysay.
Pinutol na ang 60 puno sa Luneta Hill dahil sa itatayong 7-story Sky Park ng isang mall sa Baguio City. Ito'y kahit nasa bansa si Pope Francis na isang environmental advocate. Nagpapatrol si Diane Rivera.
Good day everyone, I'm Arvin Maria Rabdon and I will be discussing all about sustaining biodiversity, the species approach. But first, let me tell you what is currently happening in the biodiversity of the Philippines. According to Sharia Panela, a Mongabay.com correspondent, ongoing loss of forest cover in the Philippines places it among the top 10 most threatened forest hotspots in the world, with the archipelago ranking 4th behind Indo-Burma, New Caledonia, and Sandalan, a region encompassing Australia and parts of Southeast Asia. According to a report issued by Conservation International, only 7% of Philippine forests remain intact. This high rate of forest loss is especially troubling as the Philippines is considered to be one of the most biodiverse countries in the world, so much so that scientists have termed it mega-diverse. The United Nations World Conservation Monitoring Center ranked the Philippines 25th among countries with the highest numbers of bird, mammal, reptile, amphibian, and vascular plant species. Scientists estimate 10,000 plant and animal species inhabit the Philippines, many of which are endemic to the country. Logging is a primary contributor to forest loss in the Philippines. From 2008 to 2013, data from the Philippine Department of Environment and Natural Resources shows that timber harvesting increased its output volume by nearly 30% from 2008 to 2013, and the country's production of veneer doubled during that time. In addition to reduced habitat for the country's wildlife, deforestation is also impacting the country's human populace. Without tree roots to stabilize hillsides and hold water in the soil, landslides and flooding become more commonplace. This has been tragically demonstrated during the many environmental disasters faced by the Philippines in recent years. From this, we can conclude that despite the enormous biodiversity in the Philippines, human activities such as logging and deforestation could still affect and turn the supposed to be riches of the country into a disaster and a burden instead. Now, let us learn about the roles of humans in the extinction of species. Plants and animals roam the earth harmoniously for 3.5 billion years. Our planet wasn't always stable. In the past 100 million years, continents have been separated. Mountains and oceans were formed. This resulted to extinction of plant and animal species. Barely 2 to 4% of the species that have ever lived survive. Most of them wiped out from the face of the earth even before humans came. Extinctions are natural, but sometimes they increase sharply. Let's proceed with the question, why should we care about the rising rate of species extinction? Species are becoming extinct 100 to 1,000 times faster than they were before modern humans evolved. And by the end of this century, the extinction rate is expected to be 10,000 times faster and higher than it was before humans arrived. As of today, the Earth is facing the 6th mass extinction. It may be natural, but we should still be alarmed by its rising rate. We should prevent these rising rates for a few reasons. First, the world species provide natural resources and natural services that help to keep us alive and support human economies. Most species also contribute to economic services on which we depend. Preserving species also provides economic benefits through wildlife tourism or ecotourism. A second reason for preventing extinctions caused by human activities is that analysis of past mass extinctions indicate that it is likely to take 5 to 10 million years for natural speciation to rebuild biodiversity that is likely to be lost during this century. Third, many people believe that each wild species has a right to exist, regardless its usefulness to us. So, how do humans accelerate species extinction? We humans play a big role in accelerating the extinction of organisms. What drives species to extinction? The answer is summarized in the acronym HIPCO. The greatest threats to any species due to human activities are loss or degradation of habitat, harmful invasive species, human population growth, pollution, climate change, and overexploitation. The greatest of them is habitat destruction, degradation, and fragmentation. Habitat fragmentation occurs when a large intact area of habitat is divided into smaller, isolated patches or habitat islands. This disrupts the relationships of the species inhabiting the place that can lead to the annihilation of the plant and animal species that thrives there. We humans also introduce species that can disrupt ecosystems. Such species are considered invasive. Invasive species dominated native species, eliminating them in the system for good. Population growth, overconsumption, pollution, and climate change can also cause species extinction. Illegal killing, capturing, and selling of wild species threatens biodiversity. The global illegal trade in wildlife brings in an average of at least $600,000 an hour, and at least 2 of every 3 live animals smuggled around the world die in transit. Lastly, the most important to know in this lesson is how can we protect wild species from extinction? As the awareness on extinction rises, international laws and treaties to protect endangered or threatened wild species are being made. Among these laws and treaties is the 1975 Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species. We can protect endangered organisms by establishing wildlife refuges, wildlife farms, botanical gardens, and gene or seed banks. But the bottom line is that we should take safety measures based on the precautionary principle for the preservation and protection of entire ecosystems. Now that we have gained knowledge about the biodiversity and how to sustain it, I hope it can help us appreciate and give more importance to nature. Let us always bear in mind that we are not a part and therefore we are part of nature. This simply implicates that we need nature in order to survive. We need to take care of the Earth's biodiversity, not for any financial or self-centered gain, but because we value it as much as we value our lives. This is Arvel Abdul, and I hope you learned enough for you to be motivated to start and make a change now before it's too late.
What Arvel said, we can prevent species extinction, biodiversity, by decreasing the rate of deforestation. The lesson to prevent deforestation, first, we must solve the causes. As a student, maybe you don't know what you can do, but right now, I'm telling you can do a lot of it. Being a student, we can contribute to preventing species extinction and the loss of biodiversity by lessening our consumption of meat, by not wasting food, energy, and other resources, by reducing our contribution of toxic gas in the atmosphere, and by applying the 3 R's in our lives: reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Good day everyone, I'm Abigail Dahoya and I am here to discuss sustaining biodiversity, the ecosystem approach. With forests covering 1/3 of the Earth's land, the total forest area was estimated to be around 30%, with countries Russia, Brazil, Canada, US, and China having the largest forest areas among others. Forests greatly affect our daily lives. Everything we need to survive are all produced by forests. They provide renewable raw materials and energy, maintain biological diversity, alleviate climate change, protect land and water resources, offer recreation facilities, improve air quality, and help mitigate poverty. While grasslands are the ecosystems most widely used next to forests, rangelands supply forage or vegetation for shrub-eating and grass-eating animals. 42% of the world's grasslands are grazed on by cattle, sheep, and goats. However, when two animals graze for too long, it damages the grasses and the roots, and it is called overgrazing. The method used for more sustainable management of rangelands is controlling the number of grazing animals and the duration of their grazing in an area so that the carrying capacity of the area is not exceeded. One way is rotational grazing, in which cattle are confined by portable fencing to one area for a short time, then move to a different location. We can help sustain terrestrial biodiversity by identifying and protecting severely threatened areas such as biodiversity hotspots, rehabilitating damaged ecosystems using restoration ecology, and sharing with other species much of the land we dominate using reconciliation ecology. On the other hand, we can help sustain aquatic biodiversity by establishing protected sanctuaries, managing coastal development, reducing water pollution, and preventing overfishing. And this is Abigail De Hoya.
Forests have a rich biodiversity, especially forests in the tropics. More than half of all the plants and animals in the world are to be found in the rainforest. Philippines, a tropical country, is one of the most biologically diverse countries in the world. The forest cover of the Philippines is 52% of its total land area of 30 million hectares, equivalent to 15.8 million hectares. With this large area of forest, the country is listed as one of the top 5 biodiversity hotspot priorities in the world. Philippines' natural treasures include an unusual diversity of unique mammal species, an estimated 10,000 to 12,000 plants, half are endemic. However, due to its increasing population size, most habitats have been fragmented or destroyed. Forests are being destroyed and threatened. But what are the major threats in the forest? Forests can be classified as primary forests or those forests that has not been disturbed by human activities and natural disasters. Secondary forests or forests resulting from secondary ecological succession, and KIFA are the managed forests that are harvested for commercial purposes. Many forests in the Philippines are degraded because of underlying causes and direct causes. Many Filipinos do not value the ecological services of forests and they focus only on its economic services. Filipinos clear forests for building roads, cattle ranching, growing cash crops, logging, settler farming, and having tree plantations. Filipinos are fond of exporting crops and timber, which is why they cleared forests again for logging and growing cash crops. And fires can also greatly affect the forests, either benefit them or threaten them. We'll discuss about forest fires later. The Philippine government also plays a role in the destruction and degradation of forests. They make and allow government policies that are not even helpful to protect our forests. They also allow trade-offs from companies that help the forest degradation instead of forest protection. And lastly, poverty and the population growth. They play a big role in the degradation of our forests. Philippines has a high rate of population growth, which is caused by poverty. These problems of ours can lead to a major problem, which is deforestation, the temporary or permanent removal of large expanses of forest for agriculture, settlements, and other uses. Now that we know about the causes or the problems why Philippine forests are degraded, we have to know and apply the solutions. So, how can we sustain, manage, and protect our rainforests? First, we can manage forests more sustainably. We should protect the forest areas, especially those of high-end biodiversity. We should also rely more on selective and strip cutting instead of clear cutting, so forests can have time for regrowth. We should stop logging in old-growth forests because those forests are rich in biodiversity. And we must sharply reduce road building in uncut forest areas and put tree plantations on deforested or degraded land. Second, we should reduce the demand of harvested trees by improving the efficiency of wood use. We should efficiently use our construction materials, manage wisely the packaging of products, do paper recycling or make paper using fiber that does not come from trees, and reuse or find substitutes for wooden shipping containers. Third solution is improving the management of forest fires. As I've said earlier, fires can either benefit or threaten the forest. Surface fires benefit the forest, while crown fires threaten them. Surface fires usually burn only undergrowth and leaf litter on the forest floor, which helps in preventing crown fires and the spread of diseases and insects. Crown fires are extremely hot fires that live from treetop to treetop, burning the green tip. These fires occur when forests that have not experienced surface fire for several decades. And crown fires can destroy vegetation, kill wildlife, increase topsoil erosion, and damage human structures. We can manage forest fires by setting small surface fires to remove flammable small trees and underbrush, by allowing fires on public lands to burn, and by thinning forest areas that are vulnerable to fire by clearing away small fire-prone trees. And lastly, we should reduce the tropical deforestation by using them more sustainably. Philippines have to educate settlers about sustainable agriculture and forestry, reduce poverty, slow down population growth, and rehabilitating degraded homes. And Philippine government has subsidized only sustainable forestry.
Now that you know all of these, here are some things that you can do to help sustain biodiversity.
Wait, tara, punta tayo ulit. Taxi tayo?
Mahal naman nun, mag-jeep na lang tayo. Nako, maglakad na lang tayo.
Ano mo muna, Pat?
Solution. We can help sustain terrestrial use.
Tara, punta tayo sa lagi!
End of con.
Sa ano na ako eh. Wag gano'n.
Kasi, ayan tuloy!
Okay, sabay.